Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday. We are in a new month, February the 1st, 2022. Thank you guys for joining in tonight. It's a pleasure to be able to put together this show all day today and to share my destination for tonight, and that is the capital of the Czech Republic, Prague, with you, or as they say there, Praha. And P-R-A-H-A is how it's pronounced there. Along the river Moldau is how we know it in English. I don't know why, but it's also called the Moldau River in the Czech language as well. Crazy that there's several names for everything. So anyway, that's our destination tonight, is Prague, the Czech Republic. Gosh, we've been going here for 3 or 4 weeks now, and I'm kind of recapping a little bit of the travel tours that Charlotte and I and some others did in early December all the way up to Christmas. We called it our Chasing Christmas tour. It wasn't really a tour because we weren't able to take any people on tours to Christmas markets like we have traditionally done. However, we decided to go anyway, and one of those destinations was Prague. Now, I've been to Prague several times in my life. Probably it's one of the places that I've been the least. I was counting up, I think I've only been there in my entire travel career only 5 times, but boy, I've been there for 3 or 4 days every time that we've traveled. And it is just a really, really nice destination. A very easy city to get around in and to walk around in, with a historic city center, and also plenty of things to do and see. 4 distinct neighborhoods, and even more if you think about the new part of town where most of the people live. I have here a map on the screen at the moment, and the map is the tour that I've designed that we call the Best of Eastern Europe tour. It begins up in Berlin. It's a 13-day tour, 12 nights, 13-day tour. Begins in Berlin for 3 nights. We travel through Dresden, and then we end up in Prague, which is we're talking about tonight. Prague for 2 nights. We go over to Krakow, Poland for a couple of nights. We visit the concentration camp in Auschwitz, and then down to Budapest and to Hungary for 1 night in Eger and 1 night in Budapest. And I'm sorry, 1 night in Eger and 4 nights in Budapest. And we do day trips from Budapest. Sorry, I'm distracted for just a minute because we have a little internet connection problem, but I think it's working just fine now. And the next, the other tour that we have that goes through Prague is what I call the Best of Christmas Market Tours of Eastern Europe. And that, you can see, begins in Budapest, 2 nights in Budapest. We go through Bratislava, 2 nights in Vienna, 2 nights in Prague, and the final 2 nights in Munich. So Prague's on our tour map in 2 different tours. So we'd love to have you join us if you want to think about that at some point. So let me run this thing on, because we were most recently in Prague last month. But the first time Charlotte and I ever went to Prague was in December 2005. And boy, we kind of did another whirlwind trip, because I was teaching school at the time, and we got out for Christmas break. And I was so busy with band performances and everything else, trying to wrap everything up, that I actually thought we were going to Vienna and Budapest. And we went to the airport. Now, this is not how I plan my real tours, with people going with me, but we got to the airport, and we saw, and I started looking at the itinerary, and we're flying to Vienna, but our train ticket and everything was going to Prague. So that was my first experience to go to Prague. I had to wait a few more years to go to Budapest, but it was still fun. So we did that. We spent some time in Vienna, and then here are some scenes from 2005. Not any video, because I think all we're taking is photos back in the day of the Prague city center. And this is the historic Old Town. We enjoyed getting some ham on the spit, cooked over the open flames there. And this is looking to Christmas market, little kiosks set up all over the place in the Old Town Square of Prague. And these are funnel cakes. I'm sorry, chimney cakes is what they're called, that are really tasty. And this is the Castle Hill in Prague, looking across the Moldau River. This is the famous astronomical clock, which I'll share with you in a little bit. The bridge that crosses the river, the pedestrian bridge called Charles Bridge. And this is the Christmas tree, Christmas lights, and a lot of people in Wensalas Square. We also had a chance to experience some of the food here in Prague, and it's a bit different than other parts of Europe. You can see I have a bread bowl with some hearty soup in it. They have goulash, a lot of types of stews, potatoes, so hearty comfort food. And this particular place, I'll have to look at it real quick. Let me look at my notes here, is Restaurant Provaznice. And it means, that's the Czech language, it means by the rope makers. And I guess it means by the rope maker's house. There was a whole history about how the rope maker's wife was not so sincere to her husband, and she ended up getting killed. But every place has a story. There's a place there's another restaurant nearby called by the Ox Maker, or the Oxen Shoemaker. And so they're all named like that. So these were some of the places that we ate, and you could see it was chili there as well. There's some soup and the bread with that. Charlotte, I guess, is enjoying that soup. This must be the wife. I don't know. And here's those white things are kind of sticky potatoes. And there's the outside of this restaurant that we experienced. So really, really good food. Again, Castle Hill, looking across the Moldau River. Charles and I on Charles Bridge, looking back toward the city center with one of the domes of the churches. This is a guard at the castle. I don't know who the two ladies are, but there's a Castle Hill, and there's a guard there that you have to go past to get into the castle. Another place that we had dinner for on the second night we were there. We just enjoyed our entire experience being there in Prague early on. First time ever. So we just kind of explored a little bit. Now, the second time, or not the second time, but another time that I went to Prague was in 2010. And I've already alluded to the fact that I was the band director, and I retired in 2013. But in 2010, I took my band on a trip that began in Munich, and we kind of worked our way through Austria, Salzburg, up to Prague, and then back over to Germany, to Rothenburg, and out of Frankfurt, I think. But we spent a couple of days in Prague, and it was in the springtime, in March, and on the same square there in the Czech Republic in Prague was, instead of Christmas markets, spring markets. This is my group at the same restaurant I just referred to, the Rope Makers Restaurant. We're all enjoying a dinner and local music. That's a kind of a one-man percussionist. A cymbal, a drum, a bass drum, and a snare drum. Those are all my group. I guess we had 35 or so adults and students in the band trip that we were going. And we performed in Salzburg and here in Prague and in Rothenburg, Germany. Boy, somebody asked me if I still remember all the students I taught in 30 years, and I can say everyone's name right there, I do believe. I'm pretty good on that. Now, don't ask me about their parents. I don't remember them, but I do remember the students. Looks like this is the soup course. That's our bus driver, Peter. He's been with me since 2001. Peter Horst from the Netherlands with Elbow Bus Lines. This is a Art Deco area shopping mall on Wensalas Square. There's Peter again talking to some of the kids in band. And Wensalas Square, at the time I first went in 2005, was was covered with traffic, and now is totally wide open, and everything seems to be just fine. This is inside that shopping mall area, and this is a famous sculpture done by a Czech guy. He made this in 1999, and it's Wensalas riding a horse upside down. I don't know why. It makes no rhyme or reason, but all of his works of art are like that. Something weird and off kilter. And this is hanging on the staircase inside this shopping mall. You can see this girl, Elizabeth, looking up like, what on earth is going on up there? We were very fortunate when we go to Prague to have a group of young guides that have lived there and have experienced Prague through the Soviet era with communism and coming out of that and the Velvet Revolution and everything else. So we get a great perspective there with them. This is actually the John Lennon wall in just down from Castle Hill, and there's history that goes with this in that when Lennon, I think, was killed, someone painted a little bit on this wall, and then it's turned into being sort of a shrine to the Beatles and John Lennon. And you can see the Imagine and Peace thing. And so a lot of people, including me, like to get our photo made by that mural. Again, Elizabeth and Will are there. This is I took their picture because they were eating a whole fish, which kids usually don't get. There I am on the Piazza, the main square as well in the Old Town. That's Emily and Colton, bass drummers, getting ready to perform on stage for the Spring Festival.
Here we are, and
I'll let you enjoy a little bit of music and Louise Willard's commentary.
As the drum line has taken to the stage here in the marketplace, Prague. See the beautiful Easter tree? As we're here right after Easter. Beautiful day. All the Easter decorations still up. Hundreds of fans have flocked to hear them.
Variety of music here. This is Santana.
Osso Buco is a northern Italian cooking method.
So let me stop it here for a minute. And we're having an eclectic meal here this evening. You see, I'm leading into Osso Buco, which I've shared one other time about a year ago on my Travel Talk Tuesday. But it's such a great meal, and it's been very cold here in Florida the last few days, and to have some nice comfort food I thought was a good idea. So we're preparing Osso Buco, and I've worked on that this afternoon. It's in the oven actually right now, about ready to come out. I have on the stove back here, I'm preparing the risotto, and risotto is a short grain rice. It's grown in the northern parts of Italy, where it's flat around Milan, all the way over to almost Verona, and they have rice paddies there, and the rice is harvested there, and it's I use a cup of it, It's arborio rice. A cup of that. I use 4 cups of chicken stock, salt and pepper, saute a little onions beforehand before putting the rice in to start with. And then it's, you'll see me going over this pot quite a bit because you have to, unlike other types of rice where you put the water in, let it boil and put in, and then put the rice in. Here you put the rice in first and add water little by little and let it soak it up so that finally by the time you're ready to eat it, it's nice and moist and al dente, the Italian term. So osso buco and risotto are Northern Italian cuisine. We're having the wine tonight comes from, can you guess? Not from Italy, nor from the Czech Republic. I decided to do an eclectic dinner. This is from Spain, from north of Spain in the Rioja region. And this is a Campo Viejo, and it's a Tempranillo wine. And very good, dry red wine, but very light. So we're going to have that with our osso buco. And then we're having a little selection of cheese and salami as well. So that's what we're doing there. Let me let you watch osso buco, see how to prepare that while I stir my risotto over here.
Designed to produce a tender, fall off the bone veal shank. Osso buco literally means bone hole in the Italian language. The shank is the shin bone of a calf. This shin bone, or tibia, is loaded with marrow, which produces a rich, intense tasting experience. I begin my recipe by tying a length of kitchen twine around each shank and then apply salt and pepper on both sides. It then goes into a pot of about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I brown it 9 minutes on each side. After the first 9 minutes, I flip it over and 9 minutes on the second side. Notice that each bone has a hole in it with a bit of marrow in the middle.
And you want to eat that marrow. It is rich and tasty.
The ingredients that goes into the stew are basically chopped onions, celery, and carrots, a bit of garlic, chicken stock, and white wine. These elements are chopped in about 1/2-inch pieces. Once the veal shanks are brown on both sides, take them out, put them in a bowl. Pour in a cup of white wine into your pot. Scrape the bottom to loosen up all the elements of the shank that were attached to the bottom of the pot during the frying process. Let that wine reduce to about 1/2. And then take it and pour it over the veal shanks in the bowl. Reserve that until later. In the now empty pot, put a little more olive oil in there, or vegetable oil, and add in your chopped vegetables. The onions, the carrots, and the celery. Let them saute for 8 or 9 minutes until the onions are translucent and the carrots and the celery become softened. I also add a bit of salt and pepper to those vegetables as they're cooking, and this is what it looks like after 6 or 7 minutes. Preheat the oven